Hello friends, David Vos here. That's a beautiful day in Oklahoma. It's been getting real cool and crisp, but it's beautiful. And kitties is good, and little bear, little blue. We're just out here in the woods, just trying to evaluate all the garbage that's going on in the world. Doesn't it seem like a lot of garbage? A lot of unnecessary things going on. Of course, if you wondered why they're going on, because you say, well, they're not necessary, all you have to do is think about why they would be necessary. All these things. They're necessary to continue the scam. Everything that's going on. You know, any of you people out there that you don't like Trump, if you know it, I can see it immediately in the Democrats' eyes. I know, I don't know how this will make you feel, but I feel like when I see somebody on television trying to explain, like if you flip over to CNN, I don't know who in the world, in this world, could switch over there and look at these guys talking and believe them. Some of their seasoned anchors and stuff are very calm, and I can see where they appear to be believable, but or at least like they believe it or something. They're cool, man. They must be criminal liars, because when you look at some of their paid actors that they sit around the table and they ask these supposed questions, you know, like, oh, maybe there's this 14-year-old boy sitting there, you know, sitting there in a suit, and they're asking him what he thinks about politics or the law or whatever, you know. He just got out of high school, or somebody just won the beauty pageant, you know, Miss USA, and now she's got a job at CNN. And we're supposed to listen to her, and she's so, you know, what is your opinion, Miss USA, on the president's actions? We know that a president has the right to put in as an ambassador anybody he chooses. It's at his pleasure. But in this case, it's certainly despicable and a cause for impeachment that he did so. Oh, yes, I'm just, happy to be Miss USA, but that's a very good question, and I think that if I had all the money in the world, I would give it to the homeless, and I would take all the money from the rich, and I would set up a system where all the LGBTQR, SPT, everybody is included, including puppies, and then the big applause, you know, and Wolf Blitzer's like, this is very, very deep what you're saying, Miss USA. You know what? You have just captured the entire point of this program. Donald Trump is a buffoon, and you, Miss USA, are the most intelligent person we have ever seen. And we need to take you to the U.S. Congress on Capitol Hill, and you need to appear before Congress and tell them exactly what you just said, because this is so heart-wrenching. The tears are coming to my eyes, Cooper says, Anderson Cooper. I mean, literally, I have not cried on television since last week, you know, in the Kavanaugh trial. But literally, these fake tears are this time it's real, man. This is crazy how ridiculous it is when we come to a place where now Donald Trump, elected by the majority of the people, duly elected, this is crazy that we're allowing him to do all the things that he's elected to do and make policy. Somehow or another, these people think that the president is not in charge. In history, it's always been, oh, the president said, and the president did this, and there's never been any question about policy. Well, I suppose, you see, in the past, the reason why this is true is because policy has been made by the billionaires. It's never been made by, I mean, Bush wasn't making policy. That guy couldn't tie his own shoes, right? Without tripping over the... This guy, he'd probably tie his shoes together when he'd take off, walk and stumble and fall on the ground, right, flat on his face. And then he'd get up and he'd say, trajectory, or he can't even talk. Let alone make foreign policy. I don't think he'd ever, he went through college. I guess he got really bad grades. I guess because his daddy was a president, they got him through college and gave him passing grades, but evidently he was in his college dorm doing cocaine and sleeping with girls, and because my daddy's rich, and he could do whatever he wanted. Oh, I'm going to buy a baseball team. Oh, I'm taking over Texas. Oh, okay, now I'm going to go for the presidency. I'll just use my daddy's team. And this man was so brilliant, but Trump is a buffoon because, well, let me see. Bush got us into a 30-year war, which wasn't a war at all. It was simply a massacre. With all of our military might, we went over there, and you saw the pictures. They got a caravan of Iraqi soldiers, a big long line, several miles, and they're all burnt out carcasses of, tanks, and we just obliterated their army within, hours, within moments. And then went in and systematically for 30 years, from the sky, we would shoot one of their people down, Oh, well, we got a whole market, but we got that leader of the Al-Qaeda there, but of course those 400 people in the market died too. But, well, that's, understandable. We can't, When we put up with this for 30 years, and everyone would come along, all these presidents, and they would be selling arms for Contra like Reagan, and we never, somehow or another, in those days, these investigations never got too public. We heard about them. Some people heard about them. I heard about them because I was watching the news a little bit throughout my life. I was keeping up, but most people probably don't even know what Iran-Contra is, or most people don't really even know what Benghazi was. So that's why Democrats probably say, Benghazi, well, wasn't that some crazy scandal? They accused Hillary of something and she didn't really do it because evidently if she'd have done anything wrong, she'd have been in jail, right? Of course. Well, no, because you see, Hillary Clinton was a plant, a puppet, as well as all the people in the CIA and the people in the DOJ. They're all put in, bought and paid for by George Soros. So, of course, the policy is never this puppet that they put in. Have you ever wondered, here's a good one. Have you ever wondered, all right, in the last week, I guess, there's been, on the news, they've been saying, oh, well, Bloomberg's entering into the race. Well, does anybody ever say, wait a minute now, hang on. Bloomberg is like the richest guy in the world. Bloomberg. Silverberg and Rosenberg is his brothers, right? I mean, these guys own the world. And they're related to the Feinsteins and the Weinsteins and the Epsteins. I'm not kidding, go look it up. And they're the richest, most powerful people in the world. And now they're going to buy the presidency, and we're like, oh, well, that's the Democrats. They're against the rich, Let's vote in another old white man that runs the world. See, nobody ever tells anybody that these old white people that run the world is not white people. This one particular family who isn't from America, they're foreign born, usually. They're these people, an elite family like George Soros that's running the world. And these are the people that are against conservative values, law and order. They're against, they want chaos in the world because they're trying to take this government down so that they can wrest complete and absolute control of our country. I want to tell you something. This Google people don't realize this is a government program. This is not a company. Little Mark Zuckerberg, okay, there's another Berg. He did not invent Facebook. He doesn't know, he's another one of these guys that literally, he's probably a smart kid, but he doesn't know how to write code. He doesn't know how to invent the Facebook code or Google or any of that stuff. There's two people that run Google, and they don't own it. They're just put in place as frontmen. They're props. Because you see, the CIA was working on satellites, building what we have today, what we call satellites. Our government built those. Our NASA, our government programs, your tax dollars, worked on this. The space shuttle was involved. That's why and how we got satellites in the air for a long time, until we didn't need them anymore. And we've got this universal international spaceport now, because it's an international business deal thing. It has nothing to do with governments. They're still telling us that we should be scared of Russia or China. Look, there's no governments. There's just one family that runs the world, and they infiltrated all of these governments and manipulate them and finance wars in different ways, and make us believe that somehow or another these puppets that are arguing in Congress are in charge. They just want us to be in chaos, and they don't want anybody to rock the boat. So the other day, Bloomberg enters into the race, and nobody's like, "Oh my goodness, he runs the world. Oh, wonder this will be great. You know, he's really smart." And even conservatives, I think, on Fox News are saying, "Oh, he'll be pretty good. He was kind of conservative, and he did this stop and frisk thing, and so he must be a great guy, right?" Do you realize how militaristic and vile it is to have a policy that when you're walking down the street, a policeman can walk up to you and just stop you, shake you down, check your pockets, go into your car, check all this seat, rip up your, oh, we found a little grain of marijuana under the seat and you're going to jail or something, This is, let me see your papers. This is the Gestapo. And the man who runs the Gestapo is about to run for president and buy it with his 50, 60, 80 billion dollars that he's got in the bank. One of the richest people in the world, right up in the top 10 or 20. Right up with Bill Gates and, Jeff Zuckerberg. But then the other guy, and I don't, Duval, or I can't remember his name right now. This is a black man, a very good-looking young black man that is very probably going to be endorsed by Obama. And you'd think, well, okay, maybe he'll be president, right? Honestly, I think if he ran and got up and did his Martin Luther King speeches and stuff like that, and this guy could actually possibly wrest the White House chair from its current holder. Not because I think he's a better candidate. I want Trump because Trump is draining the swamp, and he's doing a lot of good things that is being overlooked by the press. But do you know why this new person that just threw his hat in the ring probably will not be the next president? Because he's too good. And he's running on the side of the Democrats. And you see, the Democrats is not run by they don't want a president. They would rather the government be in chaos. They don't want a president who has his own mind. Now, this guy may be very liberal, but he's got his own beliefs. And he's very staunch, and he's got an agenda of his own. You see, what they want is some old woman like Hillary that will do whatever they say, or Pelosi. Oh, yeah, let me put my lipstick all up, right up over my lip and down over my, cheekbone, and I got to put my wig on straight and get up there and give me that gavel, oh, Trump, he needs to be impeached. Now it's bribery. Okay, she's just reading a script. She's senile. She's doing whatever they say. These are people that have been bought by George Soros they don't have a voice. They're just puppets. They got George Soros's hand and Bloomberg's hand up their skirt, moving the mouth with their hand. So I don't think they're going to want somebody that can speak their mind, left or right. Look, Trump speaks his mind. He does what he wants. They wanted him to go to war with Syria and Iran. He won't do it. They wanted a different policy in Ukraine. They wanted the corruption to continue in Ukraine because these people like the Bidens and Mitt Romney and Kerry and all these people, we don't even know the half of it, or the one tip of the iceberg of all these American entrepreneurs, billionaires that are over there making millions and millions of dollars from these oil and gas companies and whatever other companies that are being given money by our State Department, your tax dollar, billions of dollars, and then they're being told how to distribute the money and give it to oil and gas companies so they can give it to, Kerry and Biden, Hunter Biden and stuff like that. And then they get some of it. Like the person that's in charge that becomes their president or whatever, or their senators or whatever they've got going over there, their government, they get a little of the money too. See, everybody gets a little of this money that's coming from the taxpayer dollar here in the United States of America. This is the corruption that they're running. And then, so I don't think that they're going to want somebody with their own mind. Whoever they put in has got to be literally on the same page and has got to have a lot of dirt against them. And they've got to do exactly what they're told. So, I don't know who that would be, but it seems to me that the reason they want Biden is because they got a lot on him. They can take him out anytime they want. And he's a complete imbecile. He doesn't even know. I think he's senile. I don't think he knows what he's doing, and he'll just do whatever they tell him to do. He probably doesn't even know what year it is. I don't think they want Warren because Warren, think what you want of her, but she's got her own mind. And she has her own beliefs, and she's willing to, patronize the elite long enough to get in there. But I don't know. I think Warren is at least genuine in her heart that she has her own beliefs. And I think they're smart, these people that are putting people into power. They're smart. They know that there's some people they can't trust, and there's some people that they can. But there's always a case where they'll put somebody in, and that person will, down the road, they'll start seeing what's going on in government and start realizing the power that they have, and they'll betray their handlers. And I think JFK did that, and Donald Trump certainly is not doing what they want. And they're going to do anything and everything they can. They've turned our country upside down. Did you see in the impeachment hearing inquiry yesterday, this lady, Elise Stefanik? Oh, buddy, I was watching that, and I thought, now there is your next very powerful woman. I don't know what she's, maybe one day president. That woman's got a future. I mean, I'm looking at this trial and I'm thinking, where are the Republicans? Now look, there were some good points made by some of the Republican congressmen there that day, as there are a few of them that are doing a really good job. And they're standing up and saying, oh, excuse me, but are you going to, allow us to speak? And, oh, that's brilliant. It's good. But the single most amazing person that spoke on the Republican side yesterday was this Elise Stefanik. She was so literally brilliant. She was powerful. I mean, she took Adam Schiff to the cleaners and did it more than once. And then afterwards, when they got around the microphone to explain what was going on, she was right out in front, leading the pack. She is the leader. Now, look, I don't think I agree with some of her policies. She's from New York, and she's very liberal in many ways. I guess she's been known to support things like LGBT and all this other stuff. But so I don't know who this person really is. I'm just telling you, she's quite a leader. She's she was the youngest person to be voted into Congress at the age of 30, and now she's 32 or 3 or 4 or something. I don't know how old she is now, but she's a maverick, to say the least. She doesn't follow. See, that's what I like. I like people that have their own brain, their own mind. A maverick. But you see, they used to call McCain a maverick. Well, he's not a maverick. McCain was a maverick in the sense that he was running as a conservative but acting like a liberal. So that's why they called him a maverick. Well, that's not really a maverick. He was just a very left-wing liberal, trying to pretend that he was a conservative or something. And he was getting a lot of money from all these billionaires. Just like at that time, we didn't even think about stuff like that. We didn't pay attention to bribes and people, or what. We didn't understand as much about the corruption a few years ago as we do today. Donald Trump has been the greatest thing that's ever happened to this country because of his stubbornness and his refusal to bow down to their policies. And he's saying, wait a minute, I'm president, I get to make the policies, right? And they say that in the Constitution. Yeah, but you don't understand. The billionaires run this country. You just do what they say. You're not the president of the people of the United States of America. You're president, or you're the spokesman for the corporate capitalists, for the billionaires. You're our spokesman. You go out and tell them what we want you to tell them, or we're going to get rid of you. We'll bring you down, buddy. And Donald Trump says, excuse me? I think I'm the president. And they don't like it. They don't like it. Neither does my puppies. No, they don't like it either. You like it? She ain't got nothing to say about it. Well, anyway, this whole charade is just literally... I mean, it's not funny, because I think what's happening is, remember the old saying, the chickens have come home to roost. What we're doing is is a brilliant demonstration of how immoral and well, let me finish my sentence there. It's immoral, our government and our law. All of our laws are immoral and wrong and ridiculous and unfair. This has never been exposed before. I mean, for the poor, we've known this for a long, long time. We're summoned to court on some charge that either we didn't do or well, imagine going to jail for the rest of your life because you lied. You can lie to your neighbor, you can lie to your wife, you can lie to your dog. I mean, lying is not a crime in this country. Might have been under the 10 Commandments with Moses in the wilderness, but you can lie. It's called free speech. But if you lie to these billionaires that run this world, the bureaucratic government that is in power, when they got you in their courtroom and you say, I don't know if it was 3 puppies that I had, or if she had 2 that winter back in 1927, you lied because on January the 4th, we have on record where you said it was 3 puppies, and now you're saying it's 2. So, all right, mark that down as a lie. So they got this poor, this guy that was sentenced. Wasn't sentenced, he was found guilty. The guy that worked with Alex Jones and knows the president. Can't think of his name at this moment. But anyway, he got 7 counts guilty, and he's going to go to jail for up to 50 years. 7 counts of what? Sounds terrible, right? Just that he lied. And again, he probably didn't even really lie. They just trumped all these lies up. But imagine, let's say he lied 7 times to the court. Let's say he walked in and said, blah, 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 I'm the president, and I'm the Joker, and I'm the candy man, and, like, start telling some yarn about how he was in the middle of the war and the bullets were flying and And oh, no, 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 that was Kerry. Oh yeah, that was Hillary, right? They're the ones who lied like that. Oh, they can do that. There's no lose 30,000 emails and classified information and rah, 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 rah. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. They didn't have any intent. But this guy, I'm sure most of you know who I'm talking about. I just cannot think of his name at the moment. Just yesterday, he was found guilty on 7 counts of lying. And so he's going to prison. Now he's going to appeal it, of course. And maybe the president will pardon him. But just think of how, just think in your mind about this. You lie. And we as human beings have this thing, what's been going on, I guess, for thousands of years, where we lock you in a cage. Torture you. That's what torture is. You don't think that's torture? Let me lock you in a cage, 9 by 6, and throw a little plate of food, a little mush and some little jello wobbling on the tray, like a school lunch back when you were in 4th grade, right? You slide that under the bars. They give you, for a bed, a cot with a mattress that's hard as a rock. It's about 1/2 inch wide, and a little, you can't tuck it in or anything, it's just gonna, it's a plastic, a vinyl mattress, so your sheet or whatever they give you just slides off in the night. You're laying on this, the temperature that in these prisons or jails is very cool, 70 degrees or 60 or whatever they put it at. So you need a coat or a blanket or something at night. They barely have enough. I mean, in the jails, they give them one little blanket, and they're running around on a cement. The floor is cold, and they're in there for months and months and months. And if you go to prison, it gets a little better. In that place, I guess they sometimes give people TVs or something. I don't know, but you're in this little 9 by 6 for the rest of your life. You can't go out. You never see your family. You can never accomplish anything else in your life. Can you imagine just sitting in a room for the rest of your life? I mean, I don't think you understand. This is cruel punishment. It's unbearable. People get used to it. Oh, yes, people can get you. You can go down the street and see dogs that are chained up in the backyard, out in the elements. It's freezing cold. They're living in a small little doghouse with a hole in the roof, and it's wet, and they're freezing. And they throw a bowl of food down once in a while. They're skin and bones, and they're chained up to this tree. And you think, oh man, that's so sad. That dog's going to spend all his life, 2 years of his life, because that's all they live. Maybe you live 10 years out there chained up to the tree. If you don't break the chain and eventually run away. At least a dog's outside. He can bark and see things, and maybe he can run away. But we put people in iron bars inside of a prison, and a dungeon is where this got started, because they lied. That is the most barbaric. Yeah, we read about this in Gulag or the Siberia or something, or the German Gestapo or something like this, or China. But we're the ones doing it. This barbaric practice of imprisoning people for lying or having a joint, or, it's getting a little better, you could say. I mean, our president's letting people out that, this prison reform thing, but there are still people spending weeks in jail for traffic tickets, and evidently their entire life behind bars. I mean, think about it. This wouldn't happen in a local area for lying. They wouldn't put you the rest of your life for lying in jail. So this is happening at the highest court, at the Capitol. And this tells you that our government wields its authority and power in a barbaric, ridiculous way. And so all of us poor individuals out here, we've been going and getting traffic tickets and busted for pot or whatever, going to jail for having an argument with our wives, or they take our children, or what. This has been going on, and we've got no rights. We go in and we can't afford a lawyer because it's like, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. They've got some trumped up charge on us, and we're going to go to jail unless we can prove ourselves innocent, because we're already in jail. And it's supposed to be 72 hours before you see, but no, it doesn't ever happen. You see a television prompter, and then you sit in there for 2 or 3 weeks until you see a judge. And then they don't even let you talk. They decide, look, this is the deal we're going to give you. You pay us $2,000 or $3,000. You're on probation, and you get to leave. You sign here, you leave today. Otherwise, if you say you're not guilty, you're going to be in jail for a long time while we, bring in trumped up charge. You're never allowed to talk. The lawyer does all the talking for you. He just consents to everything they say, and then you go to jail. This is how our system works. And it's not the law. It's not a system that's seeking justice. We've known this all along. Okay, now it's happened to the big boys. Look, they're using the system against the president. This system of corruption that they've been using on all of us for. So yes, it's corrupt what they're doing to President Trump. It's corrupt, it's evil, it's wrong. And I want it to stop immediately. It's a farce. The problem is this has been going on for 200 years in this country. And we're just now, now we've got the Republican Party that's saying, wait a minute now, this isn't fair. Well, it's never fair for any of us in this world. If they don't like you because you're poor or because you don't, it's a system where they fleece of the Americans and they take them to court and they get their money. Or they take them to a hospital and they get their money and you got to buy all these pharmaceutical drugs. We need your money. You got to get involved with these insurance companies. They're going to take more of your money. You got to have insurance for your car. You got to have insurance for your house. And you go to the bank and you want to get a money order or a cashier check. Oh, we don't do that here. What do you do here? Oh, well, we just take your money, put it in a vault somewhere. You'll never see it again. And then when you want your money, you can ask us for permission and we'll give you a little bit of it. Of course, we're going to charge you for that. This is not a good system. We've known this for a long time. But now we're having this theatrical spectacle. And will any of you, even after this theatrical spectacle, will half of you still believe that this system is good, that this is fair, that this is right? Do you not understand that the president is the sole person in the executive branch with power, not the ambassador? I'm sorry she lost her job, but she was not. He had no confidence in her. Obama did the same thing. He fired all of his Bush-appointed ambassadors when he got in. He had no confidence. He didn't know who they were. He wanted to represent himself to these other countries, his policies. Well, of course, he was a puppet, I'm sure. George Soros bought and paid for him through Acorn and all the activities that he was doing, being brought up through the ranks of the Communist Party. But Trump is not doing the things that they want him to do. And so they're going to use the power of law to get rid of him. See, it's not really law, because if it was, they would say, well, he didn't commit a crime, we can't do anything. They wouldn't even have brought it. First of all, we're all sitting here watching this trial. There's no trial. They keep saying, oh, this is just political. This isn't a trial. Oh, well, the president is intimidating a witness. A witness to what? There's no trial. It's just an inquiry. There's no trial. If it was a trial, he would have to be represented. Well, you don't have to because we can do whatever we want because we're the Congress and it doesn't say we have to. Look, even more important than the rules of impeachment is the rule that supersedes everything. Our Constitution, which says we have rights, inalienable rights. We have a right to have a jury of our peers. to see and confront our accuser, and all of these things that are just standard, that go back in ancient times, the most primitive of standards. Yes, we still, as an American people, we still are under the idea of fairness and the law, at least supposedly. But you see, we've never been under this law. In other words, you can manipulate the law. The powerful have been doing it for a long time. And everything that we're doing today is just a charade, and lawyers are charaders. They're puppets and clowns and racketeers. And yet, 50% of this country is applauding the lies and the racketeering and the clownish and the clownery and the ridiculousness, because, yay, you're doing just like the judge did when you went to jail and put you in jail wrongfully, or didn't let you speak, or didn't give you a fair shake, right? Because it's just not fair, you see. Well, yeah, I had an ounce of marijuana, but that's not fair. I mean, my goodness, my brother has an ounce too, and he didn't get in trouble. Okay, see, that's how you're thinking. Or, hey, I was just driving down the road. They had no right to stop me in the first place. Start searching my car. That's not right. It's against my rights. Okay, well, do you care about anyone else's rights? No, because the president, he didn't have any rights because I don't like him. I want another president there that suits me. It'll give me handouts, like Warren is going to give me free health care and stuff because, that's so important. Really? You want welfare payments. You can't live on that. Yeah, but at least we can survive. We got some money. You give us a voucher for a free apartment or something, we can get. Well, ask the American Indian on the reservation what it does to you. That welfare system has destroyed that, people. They're sitting on their reservation. They get their little stipends. They got a little monthly income, and they never amount to anything. Just sit and drink it away. You say, well, that's all we want is just to be happy and have a, Well, problem is that, let's say you had $1,000 a month coming in and you have to work and you could live on that, and that's what you want. Okay. Well, you're being bought off to be quiet, see? Because now, if you don't say nothing, and if you accept that deal, that payment, they get to rule over you. Now they can come into your house and take your children at any time. They can lie to you on television, tell you the drugs are good for you when it's killing you. You don't know. They can take you to court at any time and arrest you and put you in prison. And trump up charges against you just like they're doing with Donald Trump. And get away with it. So you should be outraged at what they're doing to our president. And you and the whole world. And see, that's on the Democrat side. But on the Republican side, all of us should be, our eyes should be kind of getting a little bit wider and a little bit more of an expression on our face until we're like, what? I get it. Government itself is immoral. It's a farce. It's hypocrisy. Remember when Jesus overturned the tables and money changers? How dare you make my Father's house a den of thieves? He condemned the religious leaders of the day, the Pharisees and the scribes and the Sadducees, and called them hypocrites. You see, Christianity's become just a religion, just the very same thing that Jesus came to condemn. And what is religion? It's government. It's not spirituality. It's the government that rules spirituality. The Pope and his bishops and the inquisitors, which started the court system. That's what a court is. When you go to court, you go to the court of the temple originally. Today we still have the word court. There's no court. What is a court? The courtyard of the temple, where the priest stood at the gate and judged you. And Jesus condemned that. and said, do not stone that woman. Do not, look, it may be the law, but I don't agree with the law. It says in your law, but I say, I want mercy. My Father is love. There is no condemnation in us. It is by grace that we're saved, not that of ourselves, but it's a free gift of God. It's the good news. Now go tell them. Go tell them the good news. And most of us are just sitting here watching this whole charade thinking, well, see, this is just a travesty. Like it's never happened before. See, it's really just being exposed that this is our system and it's wrong. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and go, friends. I hope you guys have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one.